This is On Imagination with a Healing Garden. I just finished a YouTube video, and the video is down below. And I'm tired, and as soon as I got off the call to go sleep, I got a message from somebody, and they said something, and I went, oh, no, we're not. The universe isn't testing us. She's talking to us, and we are misinterpreting her message. She's lonely. She is. And we're not listening to her because we're not understanding. No one can talk universe. I can, because I speak all the perspectives. Because my work in perspective psychology has allowed me to learn how to speak to all the perspectives. And that includes the perspective of the universe. So when I'm listening to her, I'm going, oh, that's what you're trying to say. She isn't trying to guide us. She's trying to talk to us, but we don't speak her language, so we're misinterpreting it. And when you feel lonely, you feel her loneliness. She's really lonely. That's why we're all empaths. I'm tired now, and I need to go to sleep. And I explain why in the video below. But I need to talk for her because we're getting this all wrong. And I've been called crazy my whole life, so I'm really tired of can't-doers. Can't-doers are the people in your life who tell you what you can't do. They are people who are obsessed with the physical plane. They are the ones who refuse to acknowledge that there's anything else but the physical plane. And that's not true. There is also an abstract world. And either you're aware of the abstract world or you're not. And we are divided. I'm so tired, but I talked to a neuroscientist last week and started a friendship with him, Maury. He's a wonderful, wonderfully intelligent man. And he said to me, the subconscious mind does not exist. And I went, yes, it does. He goes, no, in the brain, it doesn't exist. Now, he's a neuroscientist. He knows his shit. I would say he really fucking knows his shit, right? He's a neuroscientist. And he's telling me that the subconscious mind doesn't exist. And I'm sitting here going, I'm a philosopher and a perspective psychologist of 30 years. Yes, it fucking exists. When something like that happens, this is where the philosopher and the neuroscientist and the psychologist all stop and say, wait a minute. If you are telling me that something that very clearly exists doesn't exist according to the physical mind, and if as a psychologist and as a philosopher, clearly imagination does exist, and if you've got a bunch of philosophers like Socrates saying things like, I think, therefore I am, and Immanuel Kant saying, I am, therefore I think, I'm looking at all of this going, wait just a minute. What if the rules of logic are incorrect? We call this false premise. What if we had a false premise inside of our logical equation? It goes like this. Premise, premise equals conclusion. Premise, premise, premise equals conclusion. False premise, premise, premise equals false conclusion. This is how logic works. And you have to have a correct premise to get a correct conclusion. And any kind of premise, whenever you insert it into a logical argument, must be correct, because a single false will create the entire argument to be incorrect. That is called a fallacy. That is called a false conclusion. And a lot of people do not understand this about logic, and as a result, there's a lot of false conclusions going around. So let's change, and basically I located a false premise that we've been interjected into our brains. And false premises come from can't-doers. People who are quick to say, you can't do that, because they're speaking from the physical realm. But if there's also an abstract world, an abstract I stutter. And sometimes my stuttering comes out, and it takes me a minute too. It's my subconscious mind. My subconscious mind that doesn't exist, interfering with my words because it's not safe to talk. So I have to take a minute and soothe my subconscious mind, soothe my fear system and say, it's okay to talk now. It's safe. They can't hurt me. They cannot hurt me. You've been called crazy. You're really sick and tired of being called. It's safe to come out now. It's safe to be seen. We cannot have an authentic world if we're too afraid to show ourselves. It's safe to come out now. It's safe to be seen. It is safe to speak about the things we're not supposed to talk about. It's safe to talk about the things that we're not supposed to talk about. It's safe now. It's safe now. It's safe now. There are two worlds. There is the abstract world, and there is the physical world. And can't-doers are people who cannot see the abstract world. However, that doesn't mean it doesn't exist. And when a neuroscientist tells you that the subconscious mind doesn't exist, that it's abstract. I looked up mathematics this morning for my son. He asked me what math and numbers were, because he was trying to define calculus versus algebra versus math versus numbers. And you know what I discovered? The very first thing that I found was the definition of mathematics: abstract science. Abstract science. And then I wrote a list of all the abstract sciences that exist: psychology, philosophy, mathematics. Physical sciences, medicine, biology, if we can give credibility to abstract science like math, then why can't we give credibility to imagination and fantasy? And the thing is, there's a lot of people out there who can feel it. You're light workers. You know it's there. You don't need a bunch of can't-doers telling you what is or isn't. Trust your perspective. But the can't-doers have taken away your trust, and they called you crazy. This is a perspective war. And it's time to turn the tables. We have been fighting a perspective war for 2,000 years. I've studied the sociology, and I've studied the history, and I've studied the philosophy. This is a philosophy war. This is a psychology war. This is a perspective war. Where can't-doers who are obsessed with the physical realm have been abusing the abstract world. And you know it in your gut. You know it exists. Physics is the linchpin. Physics is the world and the science that's going to link them. Physics brings the material world the physical world of the can't-doers into the abstract world. Philosophy uses logic to prove the abstract, and mathematics is living proof of this. And I have a mastery of logic and psychology. I can prove through my mastery that the abstract world exists. So I am officially declaring that the world that they tell us isn't real is real. It's as real as mathematics, and I prove it. Yeah. That's what shifting perspectives is all about. That's what my podcast is about. That's what triadic healing is all about. So I'm going to explain this to you. I'm sick. I have to take a COVID test later today, and I'm really tired. But I have been looking for this place, this abstract existence, for 40 years. And I'm really tired. And I'm home now. And I finally have the articulation, the communication, and the knowledge, after 40 years of work, to show you what it is you've been looking for. Because you're light workers. So here's the spectrum. There's can't-doers. Those are all the people who are so uneducated and scared that they cannot see beyond their fear, because authenticity is just speaking your truths over your fears. That's all authenticity is. Healing is a can't-doer word for accepting your authenticity and finding your abstract world. And you've been conditioned to be terrified of your authenticity and the abstract. So I'm the first out, and I'm stepping up in front of everybody, and I'm saying it's safe to come out now. It's safe to be seen. You're not insane. You're not crazy. You are not crazy. There's nothing wrong with you. There is an abstract world, just like in mathematics. It's very real. You just can't see it. And I understand it. I understand it so well. I grew up here. I was made to suffer for it. And I healed, thinking that I would become more realistic and live in the material plane, except I healed, and this abstract world became more and more precise and clear to me, and I understood it. And I'm looking at it going, interesting. And a week ago, I spoke with my friend, the neuroscientist, and he just said to me, the subconscious mind doesn't exist. Oh, yes, it does. I explain this in detail in the video on this thing. And he says to me, no, it doesn't. There's no part in the brain. It's nowhere in the brain. It does not exist. I'm a philosopher. I'm a psychologist. Don't tell me the subconscious mind doesn't exist. The logic is wrong. There's a logical fallacy. So here's the logical fallacy. Can't-doers have given us a false premise, a false belief. Can't-doers call this a limiting belief. It's actually a false premise. This is what they've given us. Only the physical world is real. No, it's not. Because mathematics is real, and that's an abstract science. The subconscious mind exists equally to mathematics. Now, you cannot physically show mathematics. You can't. It's abstract. There are people who cannot see or think in abstract, and there are people who can. I speak in abstract. I understand abstract. I only understand abstract. I cannot exist outside of abstract. It's a spectrum. Either you're someone who really is good at thinking and walking abstract, or you're not. Or you're a variation in a gray area in between all of that. It's a spectrum. So the can't doers are the people who cannot think abstract. Actually, the can't doers not only can't think in abstract, but they also project their own perspective onto other people. And because their perspective is limited and incapable of understanding abstract, they tell the people who can think abstract that it doesn't exist. But mathematics is real, and that's abstract. So don't tell me that abstract doesn't exist. Abstract does very much exist. And I only speak and think and live in abstract. Now, abstract thinking goes hand in hand with logical, critical thinking, concrete thinking. I don't know if you guys know what concrete thinking is. It's philosophy. So I'm going to break down concrete thinking from you, and I like to work with fact because I'm a logician, first and foremost. So concrete thinking is reasoning that's based on what you can see, hear, feel, and experience in the here and now. It's sometimes called literal thinking because it's reasoning and focuses on physical objects, immediate experiences, and exact interpretations, understanding concrete thinking. So a concrete world, concrete versus abstract. Now, ooh, there's the big umbrella. That's what I've been looking for. 40 fucking years on this road and I'm finally here. Concrete thinking is where can't doers live. That is your physical plane. That is your matrix. That is your rat race. That is your patriarchy. Concrete thinking. And then there's abstract thinking. Now, according to this neuroscientist, and every neuroscientist and anyone who has ever studied the brain, they will tell you that, well, concrete thinking is real. Abstract thinking doesn't exist. My 30 years of philosophy studies, my 30 years of psychology and perspective psychology studies, and mathematics would disagree with you. Abstract does exist. A direct result of abstract thinking is imagination. I think, therefore I am. Magic is abstract. It does exist. If the logical argument can prove itself, and it can, and that's all I do, is use logic to prove the abstract, then it can exist. But you need to be one fucking hell of a logician to pull this off, with a significant, deep understanding of the subconscious mind and the importance of imagination. My good God, do you have to understand the importance and the value and the purpose of imagination? And that's the problem, is our concrete thinking world does not tolerate it, does not allow it, and absolutely abuses anybody who is an abstract thinker. So you want to be a light worker. You need to master the abstract world. I have built a city, an entire city, revolving in this abstract world. That is the healing garden. It is my city, my abstract city. I have a map. My map lays out the entirety, including how to manage and govern and move around and conceptualize this abstract world. And then I teach you how to master this abstract world. So many people have suffered because concrete thinkers are incapable of understanding abstract thinking. You're not insane. You are just an abstract citizen of the abstract plane. Physics is proving it. physics is the tie-in that's bringing both of these worlds together. And you have been subjected to some significant perspective abuse. Authenticity is abstract. Healing is a concrete concept of can't-doers trying to justify what you're doing. But they're not abstract thinkers. Every time you get any kind of course material or textbook or information from school, the government, it's concrete thinking. It doesn't apply. That's why it doesn't work. Every time you walk into Eastern medicine, you're dabbling in abstract thinking, but they're not calling it abstract thinking. Every time you dabble in holistic arts and chakra studies, you are walking into the world of the abstract. And the concrete thinkers can't understand that. You lack a vocabulary. I have a vocabulary. I have a dictionary. I speak universe. And she has been talking to us, and we have not been listening to the right message. So, I'm going to take a nap now because I'm really tired, and I need to take a COVID test. I need to track down a COVID test. I don't want to track down. I fucking hate COVID tests. My nose. Everyone knows. Everyone knows that. My nose. Oh, I hate it when it assaults my nose. I have to go to my library and get a COVID test, which means I literally have to walk out in the rain with a mask on and go get a COVID test. I don't want to do any of this. All right, I got to go take care of my body. And then when I come back, I'm going to walk you through the world of the abstract. Well, that's triadic healing. And I will give you the map to my city, and I will teach you how to do all of this. But welcome to the garden. Welcome to the land of imagination, because it's all abstract. And I am the master of the abstract. Abstract abuse. That's what you've been suffering from. Abstract abuse. Concrete thinkers need some boundaries. And I'm going to be teaching you how to set boundaries for concrete thinkers so they can stop telling you. I will also be doing a grieving class for people who need to fall apart and just cry and share their abuse stories about how, because I really need to just cry too. So I'm putting together a grief class, a grief group. It's free. If you have been abused by a concrete thinker telling you that you're insane, I need people to cry with. So if you're interested in this, grab my Linktree account and contact Anna. Just message Anna. Subscribe to my newsletter. It's all on my Linktree account. And I will be sending out notices to my entire community, giving them a time and a date for this, because I need to grieve. And you probably do too. It's just concrete thinkers abusing abstract thinkers, saying that we're insane when we're not. And I was horribly abused by concrete thinkers for my abstract thinking. And now that I'm able to actually name my abuse, I can process it. Healing. And if you're in the same place, I'm here. Message me. Just DM me something akin to, I've been abused by abstract thinking as well, or for my abstract thinking as well. And I'm probably going to do that this afternoon, because I'm going to go lie down and sleep and get a COVID test and cry And then I need to bond and connect with people. So we're just going to do a massive grieving thing this week. Yeah, for the next 7 days. Between now and the next 7 days, we're just going to cry together. So I'm going to do a crying session where we all can just go, oh, those are the words I've been looking for. Concrete thinkers have told me that I'm crazy. And I'm not crazy. There's just a real world out there called abstract world. And that's where I live, and that's where I'm from, and that's where I'm home, and I just want to go home. You're not crazy. They're really abusive. They're really mean. So I'm going to go to sleep now. The best way to message me is literally just subscribe to my newsletter, because I'm just going to do a blast out and look for my newsletter that says The Healing Garden, a grief circle. Let's call it a grieving circle, because that's what I need right now. Thank you so much. And like, subscribe, follow, comment below. Let me know if this resonates with you. Share if you know somebody who needs these words. Share if there is somebody you know who needs these words. This is my beacon. I'm sending out my beacon. Come home. Thank you so much. And may the kindest of words always find you.